Most men would rather die than truly open up to another man. It is a shocking statement, but consider the evidence all around us. Why? Because from the moment we are born, we are bombarded with a relentless barrage of societal conditioning that equates vulnerability with weakness, emotional honesty with abject failure. We live in a world of superficial bro hugs, quick pats on the back, and grunted acknowledgments, all designed to maintain a safe, sterile distance. But dare to delve deeper. Prepare for discomfort, swift avoidance, and the chilling, omnipresent fear of judgment, not just from others but from the internalized critic within ourselves. This isn't just about expressing feelings, it's about the very core of our masculine existence, the prison we've painstakingly built around our souls, brick by agonizing brick. Each brick is a moment of suppressed emotion, a tear held back, a fear unacknowledged. We've constructed fortresses of solitude, mistaking them for strength. We are told to be a man to suck up any kind of pain. The result of this conditioning is a life lived on the surface, a constant performance designed to project an image of invulnerability. We master the art of deflection, of humor as a shield, of anger as a substitute for authentic expression. We become masters of disguise, hiding our true selves behind carefully constructed facades. We fear that if we show any cracks in our armor, we will be rejected, ridiculed, deemed less than. The very thought of exposing our vulnerabilities sends shivers down our spines, triggering a primal fear of exclusion, of being cast out from the tribe. This fear is so deeply ingrained that it often operates below the level of conscious awareness, driving our behavior in ways we don't even fully understand. We become experts at compartmentalizing, at burying our emotions so deep that we even lose touch with them ourselves. This creates a devastating disconnect, not only from others but from our own hearts. Are you truly living, breathing, experiencing the fullness of existence, or are you merely surviving, a ghost in your own life, behind a steel-reinforced facade, impenetrable and cold? The roots of relational reticence. We are not born emotionally stunted. We are made that way. Societal conditioning, a relentless and insidious force, forces men into emotional straitjackets from the moment we take our first breath. The assault is constant, a barrage of messages, explicit and implicit, designed to hammer into our young minds the perverse notion that vulnerability is the ultimate sin. Boys don't cry, the words ring in our ears, a cultural mantra that equates tears with weakness, emotional expression with failure. How many times has a young boy, scraped and bleeding, been told to man up, instead of being offered comfort and understanding? What kind of twisted logic dictates that suppressing pain is a virtue? Think of the cultural icons we are presented with. Stoic action heroes, men of steel who never flinch, never falter, never reveal a flicker of doubt or fear. John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Arnold Schwarzenegger, these are the archetypes of masculinity, men who conquer the world through sheer force of will, their emotions buried beneath layers of muscle and bravado. And what of the fathers we see on our screens, in sitcoms and dramas? Emotionally stunted, distant figures, more comfortable dispensing gruff advice than offering genuine connection. They are the strong, silent types, perpetuating the myth that emotional unavailability is a sign of strength. Even on the sports fields, the supposed proving grounds of manhood, pain is masked by a fierce, aggressive competitiveness. A twisted ankle, a bruised ego, a crushing defeat, all are to be endured in silence, lest you be branded a sissy or a loser. The message is clear: show weakness, and you will be rejected, ridiculed, cast out. The cumulative effect of this relentless conditioning is catastrophic. We raise a generation of men terrified of their own emotions, utterly incapable of forming deep, authentic bonds with other men. We become emotional illiterates, unable to decipher the complex language of our own inner worlds, let alone communicate it to others. Intimacy becomes a terrifying prospect, vulnerability a mortal threat. This suppression, this constant denial of our true selves, has devastating consequences. manifesting in ways that should shock us to our core. Look at the staggering statistics on male suicide. Men are far more likely than women to take their own lives, often in complete silence, their struggles hidden behind a carefully constructed facade of strength. Consider the epidemic of substance abuse, men drowning their sorrows in alcohol or numbing their pain with drugs, desperate to escape the crushing weight of their unspoken emotions. And what about the countless failed relationships, the inability to connect with partners on a truly intimate level, the constant struggle to express love and affection? I'll give you a chilling, yet all too common example. Picture a high-powered executive, a man who commands a boardroom with absolute authority, a master of the universe in the eyes of the world. Yet, when faced with personal struggles, a failing marriage, a rebellious child, the crushing weight of his own inner demons, he crumbles in silence. He cannot turn to his friends, his bros, for fear of judgment, of exposing his perceived weakness. Instead, he retreats further into himself, drowning his sorrows in a bottle of scotch, alone in his opulent yet empty apartment. He is a king in his castle, a prisoner in his own mind. This, my friend, is the tragic reality for far too many men, a life lived in quiet desperation, a soul suffocated by the suffocating pressure to conform to a twisted ideal of masculinity. Breaking the chains, how to forge authentic male bonds. It is a challenge, a monumental challenge, a terrifying ascent into the unknown reaches of your own soul. But I promise you, the view from the summit is worth every agonizing step. First, acknowledge the problem. I am talking about truly seeing the iron bars of the emotional prison you've been confined to. Understand with every fiber of your being that vulnerability is not weakness. It's the ultimate strength. It takes far more courage to expose your deepest fears and insecurities than it does to pretend they don't exist. Do you think a Spartan warrior facing down a Persian horde was not afraid? Of course he was, but he acted despite that fear. That is true strength. Now, for the practical steps, the tools you'll need to dismantle this prison, brick by agonizing brick. One is practicing emotional articulation. This isn't about becoming some weeping, overly sensitive caricature. It's about learning to accurately identify and express what you're feeling. Start small, share a minor frustration, a fleeting fear, a hidden hope with someone you trust. Maybe it's the stress of a deadline, the quiet anxiety about your child's future, or the secret dream you've been too afraid to voice. It is like ripping a bandage off a deep, festering wound. Agonizing at first, yes, but absolutely necessary for healing to begin. Use vivid imagery, allow yourself to be descriptive. It's like learning to speak a new language, the language of the soul, a language you've been denied access to for far too long. Think of the first time you tried to speak a foreign language, clumsy, awkward, hesitant. But with practice, the words begin to flow, and suddenly a whole new world opens up. Second, finding a tribe. This is crucial because you cannot do this alone. One must seek out men who are also willing to be real, men who value authenticity over the shallow, backslapping artifice that passes for male bonding in our society. Men who understand that true brotherhood is forged not in shared beers and empty boasts, but in shared vulnerability and unwavering support. Present a hypothetical anecdote. Imagine a group of men meeting regularly, not to drink and boast about their conquests, but to support and challenge each other, to share their struggles and celebrate their victories, however small. Imagine a space where a man can admit he's struggling with his marriage, his career, or his mental health without fear of judgment or ridicule. Imagine the raw power of that collective honesty, the unbreakable bonds that are formed in that crucible of truth. This isn't some fantasy. These groups exist and you can create one yourself. Third, be the change. Don't wait for someone else to make the first move. Call the man, You dare to be the first to open up, to initiate the difficult conversations, to shatter the suffocating silence that permeates so many male relationships. It's like lighting a beacon in the darkness, drawing others towards the light of genuine connection. Think of a lighthouse keeper, bravely tending his lamp through storms and darkness, guiding ships safely to shore. You can be that beacon for other men, showing them that there's another way, a path to deeper connection and more fulfilling lives. It will be uncomfortable, it will be challenging, but the potential reward, a life of authentic connection and unshakable brotherhood, is beyond measure. What if the key to unlocking our full potential, the very essence of our masculine power, lies not in dominating boardrooms or conquering external adversaries, but in vanquishing the insidious demons that claw at us from within? What if the true measure of a man, the ultimate test of strength, resides not in the granite facade of stoicism, but in the raw, exposed nerve of vulnerability? I ask you, I implore you, I dare you to confront this truth. Dare to shatter the brotherhood barrier, to tear down the walls of silence and shame that have imprisoned generations of men. You may just unearth a treasure, a level of fulfillment, a depth of connection you never imagined possible, something so profound it will redefine your very existence. This isn't merely about self-improvement. It's a seismic shift, a fundamental revolution in what it means to be a man in this 21st century. It's about reclaiming our souls from the clutches of societal expectation. The era of shallow interactions, of empty bravado, of superficial bro hugs is over. It must be extinguished. Embrace the terrifying, exhilarating power of authentic connection. Step into the light, into the fullness of your being, unburdened and unbound. This is your call to arms, a battle cry for the soul. Will you cower in the shadows, clinging to the familiar chains of emotional suppression? Or will you rise, a warrior of vulnerability, and claim the life that awaits you, a life brimming with genuine connection and unshakable self-worth? The choice, my friend, is stark, brutal, and ultimately yours. Are you ready?